Hey everybody, it's a live Q&A with me tonight as I take over the occult history and science show. Stay tuned because it's going to get crazy.
People believe that the paranormal and science are separate. But what they don't know, that they are both joined together as one. Join Ben and Louisa on their quest as they bring together science, occult, and the paranormal. Only on Occult History and Science with Ben and Lou.
Well, unfortunately, you haven't got Ben and Lou tonight. You got me. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. Slight change to the studio as CDL is live tonight, so I'm sort of watching it at the same time, like in the background. Don't want to miss it. It's the majors, it's the finals. But anyway, live Q&A tonight. You guys determine what we talk about. So any questions, get them up there in the chat. I'm going to answer as honestly as possible. Shouts out to Annie, out to Lisa. Welcome along. It's always majorly cool when you're live. Big shout out to Andrew Hallam. So yeah, Ben and Lou have been doing their bits and bobs today down at the Stoke-on-Trent Haunted Museum. They couldn't make it tonight, so I was like, do you know what? Let's jump on. Let's do a Q&A. Let's actually have a chit chat. Let's have that round off to the week. You know, it's a Sunday night. We'll have a little chit chat. There's a lot going on in the paranormal world at the moment. Yeah, lots and lots going on in the paranormal world at the moment. Actually, I've got my new tattoo. You guys let me know what you think. Actually, he's got Odin now. Just had that done a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so there's a lot going on in the paranormal world at the moment, a lot going on in the conspiracy world at the moment. Did anyone get that live thing today where the government paged everybody's phone with the emergency system? That was crazy. That was actually crazy. Yeah, I did, Lisa. That I'm not sure what to make of that, guys, right? Because they've never done a test like that before. And normally, like, we talk a lot on the show about like hiding in plain sight, yeah. What is it called? Showing the methodology, showing the method behind the madness. Now, to me, that was a little bit, you know, like things to come. They wouldn't be testing it if they weren't going to do something with it. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at things anyway. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not. What's your guys' thought on the whole thing? Yeah, to actually, so yeah, I don't understand it, to be honest. I don't get it. But look at it in this way: they've never done a test. Yeah, Andrew, I know. Yeah, I know it's in the place of the air raid servers. I get the methodology behind it. I get the reasoning behind it. But at the same time, I don't get why. This is the thing, like hiding in plain sight. Why test it now? Are they expecting something? Is there something they're not telling us? Is something going to happen? Is something going to pop off that we don't know about? It just doesn't make physical sense to me. Do you see what I mean? I don't understand it. And it scared the crap out of me because I was halfway through going to the toilet when it went off. Now, I know it's been in the news and that, but I try and stay away from like mainstream media. I don't like all that mainstream media stuff. I don't like the way it sort of denotes fear. Lisa says, unless Russia and China are planning on bombing us, there is no point to it, really. We don't normally have life-threatening stuff go down it. We don't. But out today, Will's Croft. What's up? Welcome along, mate. Russian vessel have been seen scoping out our energy systems off the coast. Yeah. I get it. Again, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of moves going on at the moment in the world. There's a lot of crazy things. You know, we was like, there'll never be another war in Europe. Like, look what happened. We was like, you know, after the bubonic plague, and obviously there'll be another plague, and then we had COVID. But like, there's a lot of like things that we, in general, like, that's never going to happen again, and it's happened. So You never know. You never know what's going on in the world at the moment. But yeah, live Q&A, guys. If you've got any questions, if there's anything you've read or anything you sort of come across this week and you want to sort of throw it out there to us have a discussion about, crazy stuff being done. I watched a video earlier. I don't know if you guys have been sort of like watching TikTok, because there's a lot of like this. There's this new in thing on TikTok where people are putting up like paranormal videos, you know, poltergeist activity, but a lot of them have been found out to be fakes. Now, personally, I believe this is hurting what we do, things we do. Oh, have I got a light here? I think I have. Hey, it actually works. Oh, so bright. Lee says they've been doing that years though, haven't they? Like for the past 50 years, they've got the subs and aircrafts in our space all the time. Yeah, they were going to test it a couple of years ago, another way for the government to control the masses. I agree. This was a little bit different this time. Andrew says they used to do this when we were in the height of the Cold War. Spy vessels, they soon move when challenged by Navy. Yeah, yeah, but that's another thing. Do we have the Navy to challenge anymore? Do we have the military to challenge these mass powers in the world anymore? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I think the military is no longer a numbers game. It's more about modern technology. You know, who's got the bigger gun? You know, back in World War I, World War II, it was all about, okay, technology played a part. You know, we had the development of the Hurricane and the Spitfire and the Chinook dive bombers and the Messerschmitts and all these sort of planes. And then we had the U-boats that were amazing, and the tanks that they were coming out. The Panzers were just revolutionary. But it was more a numbers game back in World War I, World War II. You know, whoever had the numbers seemed to have won, and who had the military tactics. I don't think it's like that anymore. I don't think it's down to that anymore. I think it's just down to who's got the bigger gun. Whose gun goes bangs more. A couple of comments. Let's have a look. There is so much fake stuff on there in a minute. The guy with the portal issue is really damning to the legit. Yeah, I that's one of the videos that I watched, and I was just like, oh my god, seriously, mate. Like, and he's been called out as a fake. And like, that's the crazy thing about it. People, so many people have called him out as a fake. They're all like, you're faking. And it's just like, he's adamant he's not, but you can ultimately tell that he is. How come I tend to not watch the TV? They already stuck the Nord 2 line. I've had a few visions of China and Russia and what comping, but it seems to be all centered around America, not here. Yeah, no, it is true. I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree in the chat room. I don't see us as a major player in the world anymore. I really don't. Okay, yeah, right. We have population. We have, we are an advanced compared to something, but I don't see us as a major player anymore. I really don't. Okay, we have the import-export business or something, but I just don't see us. I just can't see us as a major player anymore. I see us as do you know, like when you go to the pub, yeah, and you always have that tag-along friend. We are the tag-along friend to America. We're the tag-along guy, the one that everyone just sort of says hello to, and then that guy just sort of sits there and be's quiet, and when he gets a bit drunk, he starts piping up. That is the UK at the moment. Add to Bonnie. Hi, Vaughn. Yeah, that's what I see us as now. I don't see us as a major player in the whole sort of global economic structure anymore. Don't get me wrong, massive import-export. We have massive trades. We supply some of the, but when it comes to like political sides of things and that, I just don't think we have that sort of presence anymore. Do you see what I mean? I mean, I might just be chatting a load of crap here, but that's my opinion, and that's my opinion. It's not the opinion of the show, but I don't know if anyone else shares that opinion. I mean, it's just crazy. But yeah, I am not good on geopolitics. Like I know of geopolitics. I've read stuff about geopolitics, but I'm not good on geopolitics. So it's not a strong point for me. So it's one of them things where it's just like, it's just a personal opinion. But anyway, I want to talk about these TikTok videos. I've seen a lot of them going about. The other thing that's really been bugging me, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about on the show, and I want to get you guys involved in this, because I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of our regulars, I'm not even going to call you listeners anymore, because the guys are looking always like the core TOD, right? Now, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. It's the amount of money that's being charged nowadays to do the thing you love, to go out there and investigate the paranormal. The amount of money that venues are charging and teams are charging is exponential. Yeah. Just look at this from a business point of view in general, right? A business standpoint. Now, we're basically going into recession. Electric and gas prices have increased threefold. The price of fuel has increased. The price of food has increased. And I get why teams are doing it, because of the prices of venues, the prices of equipment. I get that. But it makes no physical sense. People are struggling at the moment to even go out and have a pint or go out and just enjoy themselves. And then I saw a team the other day for one night's investigation. I'm not going to mention the team or the location because I think that's out of order. But I saw a team that was charging £111 for one investigation. Extortionate amount of money. Extortionate amount of money. I'm sorry, but that is crazy. It's £111. I used to feel bad back in the day charging 25 quid for people to come to our events when I was doing Retruce Paranormal. It was nutty. I used to get really, really sort of conscious, like, oh my God, who's actually going to spend 25 quid? It is crazy. £111 to investigate. Ridiculous. And do you know the craziest part about that? Is how much money do you honestly think that the team made from that? Hardly anything. Hardly anything. I mean, when we used to do like investigations, we used to do the whole thing of like, we used to do cakes and coffees at break time and that, and it was quite cool. It was quite cool. Bonnie's saying that is crazy. If people are paying it, they are just as bad. Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Like, take Lou and Jeanette, who do their investigations here on the show on a Saturday night. They don't go out to big venues, and yet they get some amazing stuff. It's the name. It's because you'll get people going, oh, we are doing, say, for instance, the Nottingham Gallery Courts of Justice, and most haunted have been here, and Helmer House has haunted been here, and Ghost of Bench has been here, so we can charge you 170 quid. What? Are you serious? There's a big comment here from Lisa. I like reading Lisa's comments. I'm going to read them out. Lisa says, not sure if anyone can work this out. I've not been able to, but was given the number 23. Okay, we'll get to that. We're going to have to break this down. The month August, okay, and I was also told that Uranus Neptune can be seen from Earth and there is a big celestial event. That is correct. The Russians will attack the crowd of Americans in a fairly rural area. They gun down a lot of unarmed people, men, women, and kids, and drop a huge bomb in the major city during the evacuation using bubble helicopters. I did Google the helicopters, and they were taken out of commission in the 40s. Right, let's just stop going there. Right, so let's break this down. Number 23. We know the number 2 and number 3 are power numbers, so that could play a part. It could also be a date. Also, that I might have read this wrong, but I'm slightly getting into the whole astronomy thing, like the whole thing of like, millionaires study the stocks, billionaires study the stars. I've been into like the whole, like looking into astronomy, and there is a celestial event. I think it actually is in August or September, where we actually have, because we've got 8 planets on a dwarf planet now, so I think it's 6 out of the 8 planets are aligned at that time. Could be wrong. I might have read the complete wrong date, but it's happening this year. What venue was that at? I'm not going to say, Louisa. It was. I don't want to sort of get people in trouble. So, galleries of justice are amazing, but people charge ridiculous prices. Hi everyone, it's Donna. Have you ever wondered how much energy all Wiccans, pagan, mediums, etc., would have hand in hand across the world if we linked? A crazy amount. an absolute crazy amount. And I've always been interested in the transference of energy. It's always something that's sort of cropped up from time to time when I've been sort of doing my research on that, because when you look at medical studies, a lot of the time, and I think I've told this story before on the show, there is a medical study, something called the placebo effect. Now, this is the administer of a drug that it's almost psychology, right? So let me tell the story, because it's hard to sort of get around this. And Wandering Willow, Donna, I wonder if you will agree with me that the own body's energy has a healing capacity. So let me tell you the story, though. So there was this guy in America. He was having dizzy spells, blackouts. He was always thirsty. He was having fainting sessions. So he went to the doctors in America, and he had all his scans and that. It turns out he had a growth on the brain, cancerous growth on the brain. And it was spreading down the back of his neck and so on and so forth. And they sort of spoke to him and they said, like, right, we want to try this new wonder thing, this new wonder drug that we've got, and we're going to give it to you and administer it to you and see what happens. Are you up for that? So he signs a waiver and that sort of thing. So anyway, this is not public knowledge. This is a story from a friend, from a friend, from a friend. And it has been verified, so it is true. So anyway, he signed away from that. They administer this drug, and they say, right, we need you to come back in 2 weeks. We're going to retest you. So he went back in 2 weeks, and funny enough, it reduced. 2 weeks later, it almost gone, to the point where it was missing. It was at this point that they told him that they gave him a placebo, which was basically a saline solution into the body. So they didn't actually give him any medicine whatsoever. His body had attacked these cells and had cleared it up. Now, this is the sad part of the story. Once they told him that he'd been given this placebo, 2 weeks later, he died of the cancer. He had come back and it had spread, and it got to a point where he died. But him thinking that he was having this wonder drug, actually his body kicked into gear and got rid of it. So when we talk about linking energy, that sort of goes hand in hand with what you're saying, because maybe the body's energy repaired itself. We have that ability to be able to repair ourselves within our own energies, within our own energy field. I just thought I'd share that because it's a really cool story. It was a friend of a friend of a friend that told me, and to be honest with you, like it's always something that's intrigued me. So I thought I would share that when you brought up the whole energy thing. Some more comments going up. Let's go through these. I'd rather go to with a smaller team and pay a reasonable amount than just because the teams who are famous for TV have been to. I agree wholly on that, Vonnie. Yeah, I think when you go to an event, when you go to a paranormal event, or you go to a venue, a haunted venue, I do believe it's the people that make the event, not the venue. If you're greeted by a lot of people who are so negative, you know, oh, I don't believe in this, don't believe in that, nothing's going to happen, it almost kills the energy in that venue, and it almost like dead. So I believe it's the people you go with, and I believe as well, the more known the team, and I've actually experienced this firsthand, the more the team is known within the paranormal world, the more sort of, how do I put this in a nice way? Just solid. The more stuck up they are, the more they feel like they're better than everybody else, and that destroys energy as well. And that's what that's my thoughts on that anyway. Hi Kate, how you doing? I'm waiting for a Kate question. I'm sure there's some out there because it's a live Q&A. Kate always has. Kate and Lisa pull out some bangers of questions. Bonnie's saying, I went to a hall when it was advertised with a well-known TV group for 1p price, and the rest of the week without the team, it was £30 cheaper. This is what I mean. It's got to a point where it's getting a little bit crazy. When I don't get me wrong, and I obviously know that and this is not me bitching about teams in general, because I know that venues have gone to a price where you're going to have to charge at least £100 per ticket just to break bread at the end of it. But when has the paranormal now become a business? Like, honestly, God's honest truth. But when we used to investigate as Truth Paranormal, we would charge enough so that the venue was paid for. If we had to fork out petrol, We used to add that onto the top of it. We never used to charge for teas and coffees and cakes. And 9 times out of 10 would actually come in at a loss. If you took out, like, upkeep of equipment and these sort of things, we would actually come in at a loss. And I think that's the way it's got to be. I think you should be coming in at a loss, because if you're doing this for the love. You're doing it for something that you enjoy. If you're in this sort of field to make money, then I do believe you're in the wrong field. Head yourself over to Dragons Den, come up with an idea, put it to the Dragons, and maybe you might get somewhere. If you're in the paranormal field, A, to get famous, or B, to get money, you're in the wrong field. Because how can you make it famous, and how can you make yourself into a millionaire if you're in a field where I think it's like 47% of people actually don't believe ghosts exist? You're already narrowing down that niche that you're applying to anyway to start with. So yeah. Right, what else got? That's Andrew. Lisa saying, oh dear. Well, if the dates and sexual event match up, then that's when Russia are going to China. Also dropped one of those across Florida. They've been torturing chemical weapons. Lisa's turned into Nostradamus. Go on, girl. Joe, this all comes true now, right? Yeah, you're gonna feel really bad. Like Ben, we every January we do a show on the Other Dimension where we do our predictions for the year, right? We've done 2 so far, and every single time Ben's been right, and he comes on the show. It's like, I feel so bad for predicting these things, because it's so much doom and gloom. But there's nothing else that really happens in the world apart from doom and gloom. I mean, humans in general, we're just nasty creatures, I suppose. What else have we got here? Kate, Louise is saying the bigger teams do pay their event staff quite well, whereas the smaller teams don't tend to pay their staff. We never paid. Joe, I never ever paid any of my team members. Yeah, we was there for the love of what we did. Yeah, we was there to enjoy ourselves and for the love of what we did. Bearing in mind, some nights was Harwich Readout Fault never had a shutting time. You was able to stay there all the way through till 10 o'clock the next morning when the caretaker used to come in. He used to leave your keys, and when you finished, you used to lock up and you used to go. So we never used to advertise a finishing time for that. We used to finish whenever we used to finish. Probably one of the best venues I've ever done. Like, amazing venue, Harwich Readout for. Amazing venue. And one is a crazy story for you. When we was Truth Paranormal, we actually advertised a sleep-in, because it's got a moat that goes around the outside of this Harwich Readout Fort. So the idea was to camp up tents in the fort, and we would stay there overnight. Didn't get that far. When we got to the point where we were setting up tents, everybody that was there was so actually scared that they went, no, we're going to go home. And then, being sort of like the team that we were at the time, and not very sort of, how do you put it, experienced in the paranormal field, we actually crapped ourselves, and we decided not to stay there either. So yeah, that's what happened. What's your stance on doing paranormal investigation in the graveyard? I think it's a waste of time, Kate. I honestly think it's a waste of time. Let's actually unpack what you're asking. Now, let's look at graveyards in general. If you was a ghost, why would you want to go and visit where you were buried? You're going to go back to places that you enjoyed life, and technically you was already dead when you was buried, so you never experienced where you was being buried. That's your start routine. Number 2, from personal experience, I have never been to a graveyard that has anything in it apart from what we call the keeper, the graveyard keeper. Yeah, which is a spirit that looks over the graveyard. Don't get me wrong, there are some churches that are attached to graveyards, or graveyards that are attached to churches that are haunted. A very good example of that would be in Epping Forest, High Beach, which is just up the road from me in Essex. There is a graveyard there, and you get a lot of spirit movement. Now, there ain't no spirits that actually physically haunt the graveyard. They're not actually physically haunting the graveyard, but you get a lot of spirit movement. You get a lot of spirits that move through that, because you have a church attached to the graveyard, and then just away from that, there used to be a monastery, and you get spirits that sort of move between the two. But that's a very rare case. The only other rare case that I've heard of a graveyard being haunted is there is a place in It's called Cold Christmas Lane. It's up near Hoddesdon, which is out about an hour's drive from me. Now, this church, look it up. It is the weird. It's literally just a turret in the middle of a field and it's got 8 gravestones plopped around it. Now, the rumor has it that this graveyard church is haunted by an elemental. I have been to Cold Christmas Lane. The story behind Cold Christmas Lane was basically what happened was years and years ago, there was a little village there, and they didn't have enough firewood to get through the winter. So the idea was that they would all go into this church and keep the fire going. And one person had a job to keep the fire going. He fell asleep, and they all perished in this church. And that's why it's so haunted. That's why it's elemental creature there, because obviously fire being an element in itself. I have seen some crazy things at Cold Christmas Lane, stuff that literally even gives me goosebumps now. I think it was the first investigation we've done as a team, and it's scary. And not only that, where the actual church is on a farmer's land. If he catches you on there, he chases you with a shotgun. It's very scary. So yeah, I don't think graveyards are haunted. I think it's very disrespectful to do an investigation in a graveyard. That's a final resting place. I don't know why you'd want to disturb it. I don't think there's any spirits that haunt graveyards. And from my opinion, I've never come across a haunted graveyard apart from them 2 that I just mentioned. And one is only spiritual movement, and number 2, it's not. Cold Christmas isn't even an active graveyard. So yeah. Vonnie says, yes, I agree, Louisa, but sometimes some are very excessive. Oh yeah, 100%. So many questions. Right, I've got to get through these. You can run a business at a loss. You know, I'm an accountant. Yeah, that's true. You can run. We run the business. We run Truth Paranormal. We never made any money from Truth Paranormal. In fact, all the equipment we bought was from our own pocket. Most of the time, we had to find deposits for the venue out of our own pocket. At the time, I was earning pretty well. I didn't really have many things to pay out for, so I paid out for a lot of stuff as well as the members of the team. So, yeah, it was definitely. Wandering Widow says, to my question, it intrigues me too. If people believed in their own energies to heal the world or groups of people, the world would be such a better place. But then we'll be stopped by Mr. Big. People are changing for the better. Maybe it's something to look out for. Yes, I agree. Donna. A few years ago, I think it was last year about this time, we talked on the show about moving into the age of Aquarius. This is the age of enlightenment. It's the age in which we question things. And I do believe, and I 100% believe, that we are moving in that direction. And like you said, if people believed in healing themselves, they would be able to heal themselves. But yes, you'd get Mr. Big get involved, Mr. Finance, because it can't be taxed. So they'll find some way of taxing it. A lot of things that we use nowadays within the pharmaceutical industry are actually there to destroy our body. Now, and I say this for a reason, and I don't know if you guys have ever come across this. Now, there is a paper out there. I cannot remember the professor's name. He is a Scottish professor, and he talks about something called an alkali diet. Now, our bodies, everything we feed in our bodies, we put stuff in our bodies, especially from processed food nowadays, contains plastic and rubber that we shouldn't be eating. It's hard for our body to digest. And it gets to a point where our bodies now become within an acidical state. This causes such diseases as heartburn and high blood pressure and heart conditions, liver conditions, kidney conditions. And he talks about food that we can eat to take us back to an alkali state. Now, if you also look at esocentric and exocentric sort of studies and teachings, especially stuff like Helena Blavatsky or anything by, I dare to mention it, but Aleister Crowley, John Dee, they talk about keeping the body in an alkali state because it allows our energy flow to be more fluid. So if you actually look at it in general, Big Pharma is actually out there to keep us sick, to keep us in this acidic state, so we spend more money on pharmaceuticals when we can actually heal ourselves from within. Now, everyone's thinking, oh, Damon, you're such a hypocrite because you're on tablets galore. You take 15 tablets a day. Everything I take is natural. every single tablet I take is natural. For instance, I take magnesium, I take turmeric, I take creatine, I take vitamin D3, I take vitamin B1. All these vitamins are all natural. I don't take anything that's sold by big pharmaceutical companies. You will never see me pop an aspirin, or I will only take an antibiotic or go to the hospital if my arm is hanging off. I am really, really bad. A true story, right? Once, when I was younger, I used to play football. I once broke my leg playing football, and I did not go to the hospital for 3.5 weeks because I refused to go. And once I had tonsillitis so bad that my mum had to force me to go to the hospital to get antibiotics, because I got to the point where my throat was so swollen, it was the same size as my head, and I couldn't swallow, and I hadn't eaten for 2 days. I'm really bad. I don't like hospitals. I don't like the way that pharmaceutical companies nowadays are doing things to make us more sick. And actually, I know I'm rabbling on, because like this is what happens when I get in this zone. I start carry on talking. There is a study out there, and this is something that will interest you guys, because we spoke about on the show about frequencies and how frequencies affect the way we are as people. Now, there are certain television programs, mentioning no names, normally reality TV, where they found an undertone that's played when the TV show is on. And this undertone, the frequency that it emits at, is actually to make us sick. So all these big reality TV shows have this undertone playing, and it's actually making us feel sick. This is what I'm talking about. Keep us ill, keep us paying. Simple as that. Pharmaceuticals are not there to help you. It's a business. It's a business. Anyways, I'm rambling on. I've got loads of comments to get through. Come on, Atlanta face. Died. See? Won't go spill that. Right. Oh God, there's so many. Let's go through these. Let's unpick some of these. Right, I was here. Yeah. We are all voluntary. Yep. See, this is what I mean, Andrew. Voluntary teams. They work so much better as well. They really do. Lisa, what was the date? Blah, blah, yeah. Have a look at that up, Kate. Get the date. Have a look it up. See if I'm right. I'm sure there is a celestial happening in August or September this year, where we have 6 of the 8 planets that are aligned. There is a name for it, but it probably make me giggle. So, Vonnie, I appreciate that they've worked hard to get to the position that they have worked hard to get where they are. Have the best equipment. Many have to perform the entertainment. That is the only part I do not agree with. If you're paying that much, then you want it real. Only my opinion. I agree, Vonnie. I agree. Don't get me wrong. When you say they've got the best equipment, every team has the best equipment. The best bit of equipment you can have when you go into an investigation is your instincts. It's how you feel as a person. How many times, guys, and you'll back me up there in a chat, have you walked into a haunted venue and you've got goosebumps, or you feel on edge, or you filled up with joy? Your body is the number one piece of equipment when you go out to investigate. It really is. And yeah, they have to perform for that entertainment value. If you've got a name within the paranormal community as being a standout team, you've got to keep that name going. You can't just sort of float to the background. You've got to be number one all the time. So if you go to a venue and you get nothing at all, that's going to play a massive part on the credibility of the team. So there's your starters for 10. There is your starters for 10. Some more comments. Kate, it was 23rd of August. How was the nuclear alert in the UK today? We spoke about that earlier, Kate. It was nuts. There's definitely something behind that. There is definitely something behind that. I'm telling you, 100% definitely something behind that. It was spun as a general emergency alert warning. Did you actually read what it said? It was like, what? If I didn't know that was going on, if I didn't read the news that they were doing this alert, I should have looked at it and gone, right, they're planning something. It's going to happen soon. Louise says, I think it depends on the team, Vonnie. You get excellent ones who run a fantastic event and you can't wait to go on another. Then there's some that leave you questioning why you spent the time and money. I think that's the same with anything. You can buy things from Amazon now and you go, well, why did I buy that for? And then you'll buy something that was half the price. You'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like this little thing here, right? I'll show you what I got. Look. See this? right? That cost me 99p from the TikTok shop. Probably the best thing I've ever bought. It's so cool. My room's complete darkness now, and you guys can see me. That's really cool. I think it's the same thing nowadays. You can spend a load of money on something. Like you can go and buy a Tesla. I think they retail like 12, 15 grand second hand, and they're brilliant cars, fantastic cars. But if you actually go out and look, they've just bought out an electric Corsa that does more miles on one charge. It's more economical. It's actually faster on a pull off. It's more comfortable. And it's half the price. I think it's the same with anything nowadays. Lisa, let's have a look at this one. I think the whole paranormal world needs a shake up. We need to be looking more on the scientific stuff that can be proven how we do prove paranormal events. Photos and even video or even EVP isn't enough anymore. I believe that's why people are losing interest. It can all be faked. It has all been faked too much. Yes, I agree. I think, like any field that we have nowadays, we need to make advancements to keep the interest there. I think there are good and bad sides to making advancements or not. I think if we don't make advancements, we'll just keep the hardcore. You know what I mean? I couldn't care less on equipment and things like that. If I'm going out for an investigation, I care about how I feel and what's happening. I don't care what equipment I'm using, but that's because I'm a hardcore investigator. I'm somebody who's been investigating for, guys, going on 20 years now, and it's something that I would never ever give up. You could send me into a haunted forest by myself in the dark with a torch, and I will still have such an amazing time. But yeah, when we talk about the new people that are coming through and keeping the interest, I think yes, we do need to make advancements in science. If you look at Chris from Stoke-on-Trent Museum, Haunted Museum, he has a lot of new equipment that is really, really cool that's coming through at the moment. So yeah, I do agree with you on that one, Lisa. Okay, Dave, how was it, Dave? Did it work? Was it a minute early? It was. I don't actually know what time it happened, Kate, because like I said, I was halfway through the toilet and it made it go a lot faster. So it worked in some ways. It was almost like an ibuprofen. 100 agree, not mentioning names. Is Truth Collected a registered VAT paying business, Damon? We wasn't at the time. We started paying VAT and tax and that towards the last 2 or 3 years of investigating before we disbanded. We, to be honest with you, that used to cost us the bomb. That used to come out of my own pocket, the team's pocket, and so did the what they call it, the insurance. That used to come out of the team's pocket as well. And it got to a point where it just wasn't working anymore. So that's why we sort of disbanded. To be honest with you as well, with the team in general, it got to a point where we sort of like, we wasn't enjoying the public events. We had a lot of public coming along that were sort of like very negative, and it just wasn't having a good effect on the team. We was arguing and so on and so forth. But yeah, I will never lose interest in this field, and I'm in it for knowledge. 100%. I mean, you know, like for instance, Andrew, you name one person that can sit here for an hour and just chat crap about paranormal conspiracy. I could do it. I can sit here and throw them out for you. You know, I'm just winding you up, Damon. Yeah, all right, Louisa. Whatever. McDonald's work. It did work, but I got my alert after 3, and it seemed to be dependent on network signal 2, as we were. Yeah, this is the crazy part, Dave. This is the crazy part. Now, I was reading about 20 minutes, half an hour after this happened. And people were saying that when they was in places where they couldn't get cell network, they didn't actually receive the alert. Now, there was an ex-military whistleblower who come out about half an hour after the thingy, and he turned around and said, before they launch a nuclear bomb or they launch an attack, they shut off communications like radar, cell signal, Wi-Fi, this sort of thing. So we're testing a system that is available and that should be available for Wi-Fi and cellular service. If they're going to shut it off for an attack, we ain't going to know what's going on anyway. So it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Thanks, Damon. What's your stance on doing paranormal investigations at places of memorial, like places where mass killings happen, etc., the same as graveyards? It's a trend on YouTube. Once again, Kate, I believe it's very disrespectful. These are memorials to remember these people and what they were in life. I don't think we should be doing things like that. A lot of the paranormal investigators that are in the chat now, I hope you agree with me on this. Being an investigator, as much as delving into the paranormal and asking these questions that shouldn't be asked, and being that awkward person, I think it's a lot to do with respect as well. You have to respect the space and respect the energies that are with you. And I think that by doing these investigations at memorial places, I think you're just throwing that respect out the window. It's like, I just don't think it's respectful. I'm not, see, this is different to the whole graveyard thing. I've never investigated a memorial, and I've never, so I can't tell you from personal experience whether they're haunted or not, but would I want to? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. This is to remember the people for who they were and not what they are now. That's my beliefs anyway. Oh, that's interesting, Dave. I guess it was a test to make it more accurate and efficient. So many comments. Wow. I mean, the longer collective in regard to making money, a lot of these events make money from people coming to be entertained, but they expect so much due to all this fake rubbish on TV. Us that are super interested in figure out the truth are far and few in between. That you literally couldn't have said that any better if you tried. Teams are now under pressure to perform. It's become less of a paranormal investigation and more of a circus act. You'll get people that turn up on events now and be like, "Oh, why aren't they banging? Why are they not moving things? Oh, you're just lying." And you think to yourself, like, "Come on, man, sit down, cross your arms, shut the up, and concentrate and see what happens. Your negativity is destroying it. So sort yourself out, bro. Sort yourself out, bro." Yeah, no. And TV hasn't helped in this scenario, because the problem with TV is and it's a major problem, is they will only show you the interesting bits. Like, for instance, what a most haunted episode, they would shoot that over a day and day night. So you're talking about a 24-hour period. And at that 24-hour period, they only show you about 20, 25 minutes worth of haunted things happening when they're in the dark. So you think about, out of 24 hours, they got 25 minutes of paranormal activity, but they had to wait a whole day for that to happen. And that expectation has gone up and up and up and up. And that's what people expect nowadays. Now. Do it. You're a medium, make them do stuff. You can't force free will, man. Sort yourself out. So, yeah, I agree with that. Bonnie says, I don't bother much with Facebook paranormal groups very much now. I have a few teams I follow, but there is many who are in it for monetary gains now. Too much drama, so much negativity. I cannot be interested in so much negativity. Yeah, we could probably name about 8 or 9. Easy off the top of my head. I could definitely name one off the top of my head. And I think you guys can as well. Monetizing has become massive. And even if you look at the world as it is today, for instance, I don't know if you guys watched the boxing last night. These were YouTube influencers that have become amateur boxers. This is what the world's come to nowadays. Everything is monetized. I stream on Twitch. I play Call of Duty ranked. I play in scrims, and I go live, me and my brother, on Twitch. If you want to check us out, it's the Penny Brothers on Twitch. And we every time we go live, we get like this little message pop up. Do you want your stream to hit 2,000 people? Then send us some money and we'll monetize you. And you think to yourself, "Oh, man, I'm sitting here playing my game, enjoying myself. Like, why? Just leave me alone." Yes, totally agree, Damon. But your instincts are free to give and help other people. Yeah. Instincts are something that we're blessed with. It's something that we have within ourselves. And I think as well, and I don't know if Lisa or Vonnie or anybody who's been out there investigating will agree with me with this, is I find the best investigators are those that trust their instincts, those that are able to read that gut feeling and translate it to your investigation. We had a team member on our team at Truth Paranormal who just had this amazing talent for gut readings, and amazing. Some of the stuff we got was amazing. Agree, it's just all ego and one man ship. Yeah. And everything on these American TV shows is a demon. As soon as I hear the program gets turned off and my eyes roll. So I am exactly the same. We've done a show on Friday about the next demon because the Pope's exorcist has come out, and the demon that's in that is Asmodeus. And me and Ben are waiting to see. Funny enough, probably the next case we get will be because someone is being possessed by Asmodeus. So we want your team. Oh, what was that? We want your team to go out investigating live again. Really enjoyed it when you did last year. I'd love for the team to go out investigating, but to be honest with you, I don't get much time with work and the show, and my CDL and gym and that. So, and a lot of the team have taken like more paid, like better paid jobs, so we don't really get much time. But I will speak to the team and see if we can go out and do a couple of things. As you can see or tell, when we used to go out, we hardly went out of any equipment, and we got some amazing stuff. It was brilliant. Kate says, I agree, Damon. You shouldn't investigate as a place of rest. It's disrespectful. Exactly. TV Wandering Willow says, TV has changed into a demonic possession show for the sake of the gods. When will they grow up? This is the thing, hashtag demon. Like we just said, the paranormal has become a business. And what sells within the paranormal? Demons. Now, it's like, I didn't become a demonologist because I wanted to start this as a business. If I wanted to start this as a business and I wanted to do a talk show that become famous, like, I don't know, Joe Rogan or some sort of massive chat show like that, I would have been advertising every week and banging on about it and follow us, like and subscribe. And I mean, we haven't uploaded a paid view on the Patreon for God knows how long now, because I actually feel hypocritical people paying for the content. So I feel really bad. So yeah, that's the main reason really. So demons sell, and that's why everything has become demonic. Lisa says, agree 100% from a psychic perspective. I want to prove to myself and others what I'm getting is correct. I've decided to work more on being alone in a venue with headphones and blindfolded to see if other investigators get the same stuff as me at the same time. It's a great way to investigate, taking away your senses, because if you look at the theory that's behind, I can't remember who done it. It was a famous theory. It's portrayed in loads of Hollywood shows. It's mentioned quite a lot. Like for instance, if you take away one of your senses, if someone goes blind, their hearing becomes better. It's something doing percentages. Like each one of your senses has a certain percentage, and when that percentage is taken away, it then divides by the other senses. So if you think about it, if you're going into a venue and you're blindfolded with earphones on, so you've taken away two of those senses, yeah, you're now going to have those senses, your medium mystical senses, your third eye, your chakra, is now going to be massively heightened. So if you think about it in that sense, it's a great way to investigate, and I agree with that 100%. Sorry guys, let's go through these. Kate, it's the thumbnails that get me with the shocked faces on YouTube. 100%. Look, if you just look at it nowadays in this sense, right, this is the best way to look at it, is the paranormal nowadays. You get two types of paranormal teams. You get what I like to call the die hard, yeah, or the quest for knowledge teams. These are teams that solely investigate because they're looking for the answer. The answer is there life after death? They're looking for the smoking gun. They're looking for the proof. And that's what their whole folly is. That's what they're trying to do, and they will carry on doing for the rest of the time that they are investigating. Then you have the second style of investigators. These are what I like to call the monetized investigators. They look at a venue and they go, will it generate venue? Will it generate money? Then they'll have their merchandise, which they'll put on everybody. We've got merchandise. Never advertise it. Never advertise it. That was more for a fact of we have a lot of our listeners that go out on other teams, and it winds other teams up when they've got our t-shirts on. So, and Joe, what, every single t-shirt that you guys buy, we actually make no money from it whatsoever. I don't think I've cashed on anything at the moment. So, yeah. So you have these monetized teams. You know, can we sell merch? Can we sell tickets? Oh, they'll sit there and go, if we sell tickets for this venue, the cheapest we can sell tickets for is £40 per person. So what we'll do is we'll charge them £80 per person. That's £40 in our pocket. We sell 10 tickets. That's £400. That's £400 that we can then go and buy. Or we can spend £100 on equipment, and that's £300 each. And then we're made it. And it's all for views. The more views they get on YouTube, the more money it generates. It's all about monetizing. I prefer to watch people that are out there for the knowledge and the truth rather than the money. Because I think you are very, very silly if you're getting in this game to become rich and famous, because it ain't going to happen. Lisa said, I'd like to try a deprivation tank. I feel I'd be more correct info. I pick more when I'm alone at night and in deep state of meditation. I have done a deprivation tank. Not so much a deprivation tank. I'd done an investigation once with Truth Collective, Truth Paranormal, where we was in a venue, and we this is crazy. We was at Kelvedon Hatch Secret Nuclear Bunker, and what we done is we bought a small paddling pool and a tarp, and we filled the paddling pool up with water, and we put salt in it, because something to do with salt helps more of deprivation. It stops sound spreading. And I laid in this sleep deprivation, laid in this paddling pool full of salt water with a blindfold on, and the tarp was then draped over the top of me and then secured down. And I pulled out readings, and there was obviously a couple of holes in it, so I didn't die. And to be honest with you, it was a fantastic investigation, a fantastic experiment. I've never ever experienced anything like that before. It's just amazing. It was just amazing. The stuff that I picked up was incredible. It does help you float as well. But it with salt, it makes the water more dense. That's why you float. Imagine if the water's more dense, it's less sound absorbing. Because I don't know if you've ever experienced it, Joe. If you put your head underwater when you're in a bath and someone's talking to you, you don't get the higher frequencies, you get the lower frequencies. So the salt helps take away them lower frequencies. But yeah, it was a really cool to sort of have them senses taken away from me, and being able to sit there and sort of experience that was really, really cool. And the amount of stuff I picked up was unreal. If anyone wants to try that, it's not patented, give it a go. Didn't they do that on the TV show? What was it? 28 Days Haunted. Yeah, it was in 28 Days Haunted. They've done the same thing in 28 Days Haunted. But they used a proper tank with the thing. We done it with a paddling pool and a tarp because we are hardcore. I did do it in 28 Days Haunted. I didn't actually think of that. Yeah. And I watched that program, and I didn't actually pick up on that. They also done it as well. We got the idea. Of I can't remember what the program was. It was like one of them strange but true programs back in like the early 90s, mid 90s that they'd done it as well. And that's where we got the idea from, because we used to watch all the old haunted programs. We used to get a lot of our ideas from that, because we used to read all the stuff like what the Beverly Sisters used to do and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff we used to take from that sort of thing. And I mean, there's no school like the old school. It's as simple as that. There is no school like the old school. Some of the old school stuff is amazing. Some of the stuff they used to do is amazing. So, moving into the last 5 minutes, anyone got any more questions they want to ask? Hit them up. Hit me up. Gangnam style. I'm just going crazy. But yeah, don't forget this Thursday, join Lou. She'll be doing a divination show. Is it I Chin? I think she's doing a show on I Chin. I thought it was just some new sort of Apple products, but it turns out that it's something to do with divination. So quite cool. So yeah, I think Lou's been doing a show this Friday. We haven't actually set a topic for this Friday. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Oh, also, that's what I want to talk to you guys about. As we know, Ben has started writing a book, so I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and start writing a book. So I'll be sending some of you guys a couple of the chapters once I start writing it and seeing what you guys think. Ben's is going to be like really, really detailed. Mine's going to be like the Journal of the Simpleton. So it's literally, you know, like, I heard Ben had the idea and I was like, yeah, I fancy doing something like that myself. Like, Memoirs of an Investigator. It's quite cool. Do you know what I mean? Don't know how I'm going to fit it in around everything else. You're going live from the museum. Oh, okay, cool. That'd be quite cool. You can do a walk around actually. Ben, if you're going live from the museum, how about if we was to do like a live walk around and see what the listeners pick up on some of the things that are there, and see if we can do that sort of psychometry transference. Joe, like I did on the show the other week when I done the live psychometry experiment, we can see if we can get some of that psychometry transference onto like see what the guys pick up live while you're at the venue. It'd be quite cool. Let me know what you think about that one. But yeah, guys, thanks, Kate. Yeah, it's just putting some pen to paper. I'm sort of all drawn out. I've got thousands of drawings, so I thought I'd start sort of transfer it. Ben's on a call now. Okay, cool. See, yeah, we'll see, Ben, see if we can do that. That'd be quite cool. If we do like some sort of a live psychometry experiment and see if the guys can pick up on things from the energies, like that psychometry transference. Would be quite cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Any more questions? Good for you, Damon. Put me on the list for a signed copy. Yeah, no problem. Everybody who listens to my show, if it ever gets published, which I doubt it will, if it ever gets published, I promise you each a free signed copy because you guys have supported the show for so long. You are the backbone and the core of this, and you are the reason that I look forward to getting home from work on a Friday and chatting out of my bum about conspiracy and paranormal because I love it. You guys, what keeps me interested, really. I love chatting about these sort of things, and if only we had a platform where I was free to roam with my mouth and talk about conspiracies, these shows would be a lot more mentally crazy. But anyways, that's it from the Occult History and Science show. Normally you'd have Ben and Lou, but they've been extremely busy today and they won't be live. So big shouts out to you guys. From me, it's bye from me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and I hope you all have a very good week. I shall speak to you soon and I'm out of here. So it's bye from me and bye from nobody else because I'm going to go host. And remember, if there's no other